When worry whispers in your ear, reminding you of everything that could go wrong, you must let faith speak louder. You must let the voice of truth rise within you, declaring that God is still in control. Every moment you allow worry to dominate your thoughts, you are giving fear a place that only faith deserves. Worry is the language of uncertainty, but faith is the language of trust. Worry drains your energy, clouds your vision, and distracts you from the truth that God has already written the outcome of your story. Faith, on the other hand, fills your soul with peace, with clarity, with strength to move forward even when the path seems dark. Every time you start to panic, pause and remind yourself, if God brought me through before, he will do it again. You've seen his faithfulness before in the moments when you thought you wouldn't make it, but somehow you did. That was not luck. That was not coincidence. That was grace. That was divine intervention working behind the scenes. The same God who provided for you when you didn't know how the bills would be paid, the same God who healed you when the doctor said there was no way, the same God who opened doors that were sealed shut. He is still the same today. He hasn't lost his power. He hasn't forgotten his promise, and he hasn't abandoned his plan for you. When you choose to trust instead of worry, you step into alignment with heaven's rhythm. You begin to see through the eyes of faith instead of fear. You start to realize that no situation is too big for God, no challenge too heavy, no enemy too strong. Worry says, what if it doesn't work? Faith says, even if it doesn't, God still will. Worry imagines defeat before the battle begins, but faith already celebrates victory before it's seen. When worry starts to whisper, you must remind yourself of what God has already spoken. Let his promises be louder than your problems. Let his word drown out the noise of your doubts. You cannot live in peace while holding hands with fear. God never designed you to carry the weight of the world on your shoulders. That's his job. He said, cast all your cares upon me, for I care for you. So when you find yourself replaying the same worries in your mind, stop and hand them over to God. Speak to your soul and say, be still. Tell your heart, God's got this. The moment you start trusting, something shifts inside of you. The storm may not stop, but your spirit stands still. That's when you'll begin to experience a supernatural calm that doesn't make sense to the human mind, peace that surpasses understanding. So when worry tries to rise, let your faith roar louder. When fear says, you can't, let faith declare, God already did. The God who began a good work in you is faithful to complete it. And no amount of worry will change his plan, but your faith, your trust will activate it. Before every promise, there is always a wilderness. Before every elevation, there is isolation. Before every breakthrough, there is a breaking. The wilderness is not a punishment, it's preparation. It's the place where God strips away what cannot go with you to the next level. It's where he refines your faith, strengthens your character, and teaches you how to depend on him completely. The wilderness is uncomfortable because it exposes everything you try to hide, your fears, your doubts, your impatience. But it's also the sacred space where God begins to shape you for what's coming. You can't step into your promise until you've been processed, and the wilderness is the process. Sometimes we see delay and think God has forgotten us, but delay is God's divine pause, his way of aligning what's ahead. You might be waiting for the door to open, but maybe God is building the foundation strong enough to carry the weight of your blessing. You may be praying for the promise to manifest, but God is preparing your capacity to handle it when it does. You don't want a blessing you're not ready for. You don't want to stand on a platform that your character can't support. So when God seems to hold back, he's not denying you, he's developing you. Every test, every trial, every moment of silence is working something in you that you'll need later. The wilderness can feel lonely because not everyone is meant to go with you through it. God will start to separate you from certain people, from distractions, from patterns that no longer serve your purpose. Sometimes He'll let relationships fade, opportunities close, and familiar paths vanish, not because He's being cruel, but because He's creating space for something greater. The wilderness is where dependence is learned, where you discover that if you have God, you already have enough. It's where manna falls from heaven and water flows from rocks, where provision comes in unexpected ways just to remind you that your source has never been people, positions, or possessions, but God Himself. When you're in that in between season, that waiting room of destiny, it's easy to question God's timing. You may wonder why the door hasn't opened yet, why the prayer hasn't been answered, why the promise feels delayed. But the truth is, the wilderness is proof that the promise still stands. It's the evidence that God is preparing you for something too great to rush. You can't microwave destiny, you must marinate in obedience. Every day in the wilderness teaches you endurance, humility, and faith. You start to realize that what feels like a setback is actually a setup. So if you find yourself walking through dry places, don't curse the process. Thank God for it. Because He's not trying to destroy you. He's refining you. He's burning away the fear, the doubt, the pride, and everything that would keep you from stepping fully into your promise. The wilderness is temporary, but the strength it produces is eternal. And when you come out of it, you'll be stronger, wiser, and more prepared for what God has promised, because you'll know that it wasn't the wilderness that broke you. It was the wilderness that built you. There comes a point in your journey when you must let go of control and surrender everything into the hands of God. We often say we trust Him, yet deep down we still try to orchestrate every outcome, manage every timeline, and fix what only He can fix. But true faith begins where control ends. When you surrender, you're not giving up, you're giving it over. You're releasing your grip on the situation and saying, God, I trust you even when I can't trace you. It's in that moment of surrender that peace begins to replace pressure and clarity starts to silence confusion. Surrender is not weakness, it is strength in its purest form. Because it takes courage to let go of what you can't understand and still believe that God is working for your good. Many of us struggle because we are still trying to be the author of a story God is already writing. We want to skip the waiting, fast forward the process, and edit out the painful chapters. But God's storylines don't always make sense in the moment. They make sense in hindsight. You'll never see how He was moving until you look back and realize every detour was direction, every delay was protection, and every disappointment was divine redirection. Surrender is trusting that even when the plan changes, the promise still stands. It's saying, God, not my will, but yours be done, and meaning it even when it costs you comfort. When you surrender, you create space for God to move. As long as your hands are full of worry, He can't place blessings in them. As long as you're clinging to your own understanding, you're closing yourself off to divine revelation. God cannot fill what is already occupied. That's why sometimes He'll allow certain things to fall apart, not to punish you, but to free you from the illusion that you were ever in control. Surrender means trusting that His plan is better than yours, even when it hurts, even when it feels uncertain, even when you can't see the outcome. There is a deep power in saying, God, I don't know how this will turn out, but I believe you have already gone before me. That declaration shifts the atmosphere. It removes the weight from your shoulders and places it back into His hands. You begin to walk differently, think differently, pray differently. Instead of asking, why is this happening to me? You begin to say, what are you teaching me through this? That's when the peace of God floods your spirit, not because everything makes sense, but because you finally trust the one who does. Surrender transforms your perspective. You stop striving and start flowing. You stop fighting the process and start cooperating with it. The storms may still come, but now you know they are not meant to drown you. They are meant to develop you. You stop asking God to calm the storm and start asking Him to calm you in the storm. When you surrender, you step into divine alignment. And once you're aligned, nothing can stop what God has ordained. The moment you truly let go, heaven begins to move. The weight lifts, the peace settles. And you finally understand that surrender wasn't about losing control. It was about gaining trust. Faith in the waiting room is one of the hardest lessons you will ever learn because it requires you to believe without evidence, to stand firm when nothing around you is moving, and to praise when the promise still looks far away. The waiting room is that in between place, the space between the prophecy and the manifestation, between prayer and fulfillment, between the amen and the there it is. It's where your faith is tested, stretched, and refined. It's where impatience tries to take root, where doubt knocks at the door, and where fear whispers, maybe God forgot about you. But hear this, God never forgets what He promises. He never misplaces your miracle. He is not slow. He is strategic. Every moment you wait is being used to prepare something greater than what you prayed for. When you're in the waiting room, it's easy to feel like nothing is happening. But the truth is that heaven is busy on your behalf. God is aligning people, orchestrating circumstances, and moving pieces you can't even see. Just because you don't hear Him doesn't mean He isn't speaking. Just because you don't see movement doesn't mean He isn't working. Sometimes the silence is a sign that the work is sacred, that God is doing something so intricate, so divine, that He has to do it out of sight. You see, some miracles are not microwave miracles, they are marinated in time and faith. The waiting is not wasted when you trust who you're waiting on. Faith in the waiting room means keeping your praise alive even when your progress feels invisible. It's choosing to worship while the walls are still standing. It's continuing to sow even when you haven't yet seen the harvest. It's believing that God's word is true even when your situation looks like the opposite. That's what separates those who see the promise from those who give up before it comes. You can't grow strong faith in comfortable seasons. Faith grows in the dark, in the uncertainty, in the tension, in the waiting. That's where you learn to rely on His presence instead of His performance, His promise instead of proof. The waiting room teaches you patience, and patience builds character. It shapes your perspective so that when the blessing finally comes, you'll value it. Waiting isn't punishment, it's preparation. God uses the waiting room to work things out in you. The pride, the fear, the need for control before He works things out for you. And when you finally come out, you don't just walk out with the promise, you walk out with wisdom. You learn that God's timing is not just perfect, it's protective. If He gave you what you asked for before you were ready, it might have crushed you instead of blessed you. So while you wait, don't lose heart. Keep your spirit anchored in faith. Keep declaring His promises out loud. Keep doing what He told you to do, even when you don't see results yet. The waiting season is a faith gym. Every day you lift the weight of uncertainty and strengthen your trust in God's plan. One day soon, the waiting will make sense. The doors will open. The breakthrough will come. And when it does, you'll look back and thank God for the season that taught you how to wait well, how to believe deeply, and how to trust completely. Your breakthrough is already in motion. Even when it feels like nothing is changing, God is moving pieces in places you cannot see. He is speaking your name in rooms you've never entered. He is softening hearts, opening doors, shifting atmospheres, and aligning divine connections. Sometimes it's not that the blessing isn't coming, it's that it's being built. God is not a God of randomness. He is intentional. Every detail of your destiny is being crafted with precision. What looks delayed is often divine construction. What feels like waiting is often the sound of heaven preparing your stage. You may not see the full picture yet, but trust me, your breakthrough is closer than it looks. God specializes in working behind the curtain. When it seems like nothing is happening, that's usually when he's setting the scene for your sudden turnaround. You might think the silence means the story is over, but it's just a pause before the next chapter. Breakthroughs rarely start with trumpets. They often begin quietly, subtly, unexpectedly. You may wake up one morning and realize that what used to weigh you down doesn't anymore, that what used to hold you back has lost its power. That's how God works, subtly shifting you from brokenness to breakthrough. It happens one prayer, one act of faith, one surrendered moment at a time. When you've cried, prayed, and waited, it's easy to think nothing's moving. But the tears you shed are watering the soil of your next season. The prayers you whispered in the dark are now echoing in heaven. The faith you held on to when everything told you to quit has been seen by God, and He rewards faithfulness. You may not get the blessing when you want it, but you will get it when it's ready. Every struggle, every setback, every sleepless night has been preparing you for this moment. You are standing on the edge of something extraordinary. Your breakthrough is not coming by accident. It's been scheduled by heaven. The divine timing of God cannot be rushed or delayed. When He says it's time, no one can stop it. Not the enemy, not the opposition, not even your past mistakes. What God has ordained for you will find you. It will locate you in the right place at the right time, in the right season. You just have to stay positioned in faith. Don't let discouragement push you out of place. Don't let impatience make you settle for less. Keep standing, keep believing, keep declaring, my time is coming. When your breakthrough arrives, it won't come in pieces. It will come complete. It will restore what was lost, redeem what was broken, and multiply what was taken. You will look back and realize that every battle you fought was not wasted. It was preparation. The pain was not pointless. It was producing purpose. The waiting was not empty. It was building endurance. God was never late. He was perfecting his promise. And when the breakthrough comes, you'll know it was Him because no one else could have orchestrated it so beautifully. So stand still and watch. Keep your eyes open, your heart ready, and your faith active. The shift is happening right now. The favor is already forming. The doors are unlocking. The season you've been praying for is about to unfold before your eyes. You've come too far to give up now. Your breakthrough isn't just on the way, it's already in motion. Right now, heaven is working on your behalf in ways you can't imagine. God is aligning circumstances that will make sense only when they unfold. He's preparing people to favor you, opening doors you didn't even knock on, and orchestrating divine appointments that will lead you straight into your destiny. The silence you're experiencing is not absence, it's strategy. God is writing a story that requires certain things to remain hidden until the right moment. You may not see it yet, but threads of breakthrough are already being woven into the fabric of your life. Every disappointment, every delay, every detour is being used to position you for what's coming. The tears you cried, God collected them. The prayers you whispered when no one else heard, He recorded them. Every act of faith, every moment you chose to trust instead of give up has not gone unnoticed. The God who saw you at your lowest is the same God preparing to lift you to your highest. He's been there in every sleepless night, in every season of confusion, in every silent battle, and now heaven is shifting in your favor. The same place where you were once broken will become the place of your blessing. The same people who counted you out will witness God's hand raising you up. You won't have to force it. The blessing will find you right where you are. This is the moment when faith must speak louder than fear. You've prayed, you've waited, you've endured. Now you must believe that what you've been waiting for is on its way. Don't be distracted by what looks delayed. Remember that divine timing often disguises itself as delay. When it finally happens, it will happen suddenly. The things that once took years of effort will start to flow with ease. Doors that were locked will swing open. Opportunities will come looking for you. God's acceleration doesn't need permission. When He moves, everything shifts in your favor. You're standing on the edge of manifestation, and this is where the enemy tries hardest to make you give up. He knows if you hold on just a little longer, the breakthrough will break through. That's why the pressure feels heavier, the opposition stronger, and the silence louder. But this is not the time to quit. It's the time to trust. This is the final stretch before the miracle. The pain you're feeling is not the end, it's the push before delivery. Something divine is being birthed in your life, and the labor you're enduring is proof that something powerful is about to emerge. So stay in position. Keep your faith firm, your heart open, your mind focused. God's hand is already moving. He's about to show you why you had to wait, why it couldn't happen sooner, and why the process was necessary. When the breakthrough arrives, it will not only change your circumstances, it will transform your perspective. You'll see that everything you went through was God's way of building the foundation for something greater than you could have imagined. The tables are turning, the heavens are opening, and your season of waiting is becoming your season of winning. Your breakthrough isn't just coming, it's unfolding right now in real time. This is not the end, it's the turning point. The moment where what once looked like defeat becomes divine redirection. The very thing that tried to break you is about to bless you. The season that felt like loss is going to reveal itself as the setup for your next level. God is saying, be still and know that I am God. He's reminding you that He hasn't changed His mind about your destiny. What He spoke over your life still stands. The promise is still alive, even if the process has been painful. You may have walked through fire, but you're coming out refined, not destroyed. You may have faced storms, but you're still standing, and that's proof that grace carried you. Be still doesn't mean do nothing. It means stop striving and start trusting. It means stop fighting battles that God has already won. It means releasing the anxiety, the overthinking, and the need to control the outcome. When you are still, you give God room to move. When you rest in His presence, you give Him space to perform what only He can. There's a power that comes when you finally stop trying to figure everything out and simply say, God, I trust you. That's when breakthroughs begin to unfold naturally, not by force, but by faith. You see, the breakthrough you've been praying for isn't coming from your effort, it's coming from your alignment. When your heart, your words, and your thoughts align with what God has spoken, heaven responds. Worry delays what faith accelerates. Fear locks doors that faith opens. That's why the enemy fights your peace, because peace is the soil where faith grows. When you're calm, when you're centered, when you're standing firm on God's promises, you become unstoppable. You begin to move in rhythm with divine timing, and nothing can hinder what's meant for you. So right now, let go of the fear. Let go of the past. Let go of the thoughts that tell you you're not enough, not ready, or not capable. You've already been prepared for this. The process wasn't punishment, it was preparation. Every delay was developing strength. Every heartbreak was building endurance. Every closed door was divine protection. You're stepping into a season where everything starts to make sense. The pain, the waiting, the tears, they were never wasted. God was using them to shape your faith, to build your resilience, to deepen your dependence on Him. You're not behind schedule. You're right on time. The things that once seemed like obstacles are about to reveal themselves as open doors. The people who left were necessary for your elevation. The moments that felt like endings were simply transitions. This is your turning point, your divine shift. God is saying, be still. I'm not done with you yet. Your story doesn't end in defeat. It unfolds in destiny. What's coming will not only restore what you lost, but multiply it. What's ahead will make you forget the pain of what's behind. This is not the end. It's the moment heaven begins to show you what all the waiting was for. So lift your head, square your shoulders, and declare it with bold faith. My breakthrough is coming. Say it until your spirit believes it, until your doubt dissolves, until your atmosphere shifts. Speak it into every corner of your life. Speak it over your family, over your finances, over your health, over your dreams, because your words carry power. And when you speak with faith, you activate heaven's response. Life and death are in the power of the tongue, and sometimes your miracle is waiting for you to open your mouth. You can't speak defeat and expect victory. You can't speak fear and expect freedom. You must speak what God has promised, even when your situation doesn't reflect it yet. That's how faith works. It declares before it sees. Let your worship become your weapon. When fear tries to creep in, lift your hands and praise. When worry knocks on your heart, answer with worship. When the enemy reminds you of your past, remind him of your promise. Praise confuses the enemy. It turns pain into power, chaos into calm, weakness into strength. Because when you worship in the middle of the storm, you're saying, I trust you, God, even here. That's the sound of unshakable faith. Faith that doesn't depend on circumstances. Faith that isn't built on feelings. Faith that knows God is faithful even when life isn't fair. You may not see it now, but there's a shift happening in the unseen. Angels are moving, doors are unlocking, chains are breaking. God is positioning you for something far greater than what you lost. The season of struggle is giving birth to a season of supernatural strength. Every ounce of pain is about to be transformed into purpose. Every tear you cried is watering the soil of a new beginning. God is not done. He's just getting started. The best part of your story hasn't even been written yet. And when it unfolds, it will make you weep with gratitude for how he turned it all around. Hold your head high. You've been through too much to quit now. You've survived storms that should have taken you out, but you're still standing. That means there's more ahead. The fact that you're still here is proof that purpose is still alive inside you. Don't look back with regret. Look forward with expectation. God is not repeating the past. He's redeeming it. Every closed door was a blessing in disguise. Every no was protection. Every delay was alignment. Everything you thought you lost is about to return multiplied, pressed down, shaken together, and running over. So today, make a decision to stop worrying and start trusting, to stop doubting and start believing, to stop shrinking back and start stepping forward. You've waited long enough. You prayed long enough. Now it's time to move like you believe it's already done, because it is. Heaven has heard you. The earth is responding, and your breakthrough is not coming. It's here. This is your moment. This is your confirmation. This is your time. Lift your voice, lift your faith, and lift your expectation, because when faith takes over, miracles happen, and your miracle is already in motion. You are stepping into a divine moment where everything that once felt scattered is coming together. What once looked like chaos is revealing itself as divine coordination. God has been behind the scenes, weaving every heartbreak, every delay, every disappointment into a masterpiece that only he could create. What felt like rejection was really redirection. What seemed like loss was divine preparation. You are about to see the reason behind every sleepless night, every tear, every closed door. God is about to make sense of what didn't make sense. He's turning confusion into clarity, pain into purpose, and delay into destiny. This is the season where you will look back and realize that nothing was wasted. Every season of silence, every battle you fought, every not yet you received from God was necessary to bring you to this place of strength and awareness. You had to be stretched to be prepared. You had to be pressed to produce the oil of anointing inside of you. Every struggle was a seed, and now it's harvest time. You're not who you were when this started. You're stronger, wiser, and more rooted in faith. The pain changed you, but it also prepared you for what's next. God is not just restoring what you lost, He's upgrading it. The blessing that's coming will not just replace what was taken, it will surpass it. You're not going back to where you were. You're moving into something greater. The doors that are opening now are doors you once dreamed about. The opportunities unfolding now are ones that your faith built quietly when no one was watching. You're walking into rooms your prayers unlocked. You're stepping into spaces your faith prepared. This is the moment when everything shifts in your favor. There will come a time soon, and it's closer than you think, when you'll look around and realize you're living in what you once prayed for. The weight that used to hold you down will be replaced with joy that lifts you up. The fear that tried to stop you will no longer have power. The chains that bound you will be broken, and you'll realize you were free all along. God didn't forget you. He was perfecting you. He was positioning you to handle the blessing without losing yourself in it. Because when the breakthrough comes, it doesn't just change your situation, it transforms your heart. So keep standing in faith, even when it feels like nothing is happening. Keep thanking God even before the answer shows up. Keep praising through the process, because the promise is closer than it's ever been. The tables are turning, the season is shifting, and your name is being written into new opportunities. The wait is over. The warfare is ending. The favor is flowing. You've endured the process, and now you're about to step into the promise. Your breakthrough isn't coming someday. It's happening now. The same God who brought you this far is the same God who's about to take you further than you've ever dreamed. When faith takes over, everything changes. The atmosphere shifts, your perspective widens, and your heart finds peace in the very place where worry used to live. Faith opens doors that fear kept closed. It calls things that are not as though they were. It allows you to walk through life with a calm assurance that even if you can't see it, God is working it out. When you start moving in faith, you no longer chase outcomes, you attract them. You no longer beg for miracles. You become the space where miracles happen. Because faith doesn't just believe for a blessing, it positions you to receive one. Faith is not passive, it's powerful. It's not pretending everything is okay. It's trusting that God is making everything okay, even when it's not. It's waking up each day and choosing to say, God, I trust you with this too. Faith doesn't mean you never feel fear. It means you don't let fear make your decisions. You keep walking, you keep praying, you keep believing, even when your knees are trembling. Every step of faith is a seed that will produce a harvest in due time. And when the harvest comes, it won't just bless you, it will bless everyone connected to you. Faith takes ordinary moments and turns them into divine encounters. It gives you the courage to dream again after disappointment, to love again after heartbreak, to rise again after failure. It transforms valleys into pathways and burdens into breakthroughs. When you live by faith, you begin to see that God never wastes a moment, not the waiting, not the tears, not even the mistakes. Every experience becomes evidence of his faithfulness. You start to understand that what the enemy meant for evil, God has been using for your elevation all along. And when faith truly takes over, miracles stop being rare. They become your reality. You stop doubting whether you're worthy of blessings and start walking like someone who already carries favor. You stop trying to earn what grace freely gives. You stop rehearsing your fears and start proclaiming your faith. That's when heaven begins to move. When your words and your heart come into agreement with God's promises, mountains move, doors open, opportunities find you, healing flows, peace returns, faith releases what worry restrains. So now let faith rise up in you like never before. Let it silence every voice of doubt, drown out every whisper of fear, and break every chain of limitation. You've seen enough of what worry can do. Now it's time to see what faith will do. Because when faith takes over, miracles manifest, blessings multiply, and destiny unfolds. What's ahead of you is greater than what's behind you. The waiting is over. The breakthrough is here. And faith, fierce, unshakable, unstoppable faith, is the key that will unlock everything God has already prepared for you.